My name is Kelly Ryan. I'm Cubby Cubby and Australian South Sea Islander descent. I live in sunny Queensland and I'm a psychologist. I'm on the Australian Indigenous Psych Association board and I'm a director, CEO. Those names are a bit strange when you have your own business. So I have my own company, the Seedling Group, and yeah. Look, there are probably two ways to think of this. One is it's great for our mob because it's great to be together and share knowledge and support each other. The other thing is, as far as service provision goes, we are looking at very different knowledge systems, very different worldviews in relation to health and well-being, and the understanding of holistic health. And I think, we have a system, a governing system that does not see health the same way as us. It's based on a model that is very reactive and we need to be proactive. And I think that's not the way the service system works. So for us, it's very much about getting the policymakers and the government to understand what is important for us, what that means, where it should sit. It often is and ends up in places or departments that we don't fit, and so therefore the things that work aren't funded because they don't fit underneath that umbrella for that department. So that's really important. I think it's really important to also understand that we know so much more than we did before in relation to science. So the sciences know so much more, understand so much more about our healing practices. And we need to be part of that translation, because otherwise you see things allocated to additional therapies or alternate therapies. And so they're not funded, or they're partly funded, or they're controlled. And that's really just due to a lack of understanding, but it also minimises practices that are really helpful for the social emotional well-being of our mob. I've loved the event. It's really well run. It's very safe. It's very friendly. There's lots of people here with the same intent and lots of knowledge. People are doing lots of different things and sharing that. But also, I think understanding that you're not alone. Often when you fight the system because it's such a big thing and you're such a small person and you're doing all the heavy lifting, you start to become tired and exhausted and you feel like you're alone. So it was good for people to see there are lots of other things going on. There's lots of successes happening, and they can use some of that. There are the handbook, there are models now available. Yeah, that's been really good. And Indigenous-led and Indigenous governed, I think, are things that have come through very strongly, and a framework. And what that means is hard decisions. So if you have a non-Indigenous person sitting in an Indigenous role or controlling Indigenous funds, then they really need to be answering to an advisory group or someone who holds the knowledge, because they might have the skills, but they definitely will not have the lived experience and the knowledge. And I think understanding the importance of lived experience is so critically important for everyone to get their head around. And I think, that goes back to that lived experience. We do a lot of work with lived experience networks and keeping them safe, but understanding that we're talking about lives, we're talking about well-being, we're talking about being on the front foot, making space for that, making policy for that, funding that and also listening to what people are saying. You know, it's this thing about language. We say lived experience, but it's all wrapped up in this movement about evidence-based practice and practice-based evidence. And I know this is an interesting thing where we have to find the right language so we can speak to each other and understand each other. But that's important. But we also have to understand that in finding a language that works and meanings that work together, you have to remember your privilege and your power in that space, and to be really aware of that. And I don't mean apologize for being white, apologize for your privilege, because that's just asking someone to rescue you. I mean, understand it, own it, accommodate for it, you know, be present without needing, know how you can have input, know how you can make a difference. I mean, listen to people who are prepared to talk to you, people like Pat and, you know, Helen, and those people who actually know what needs to be done, are quite capable in holding that space so governments can learn.